Uh, I took the flight test and the written private in the PA-12 from Harold Berger. Harold A. Berger was the examiner on April 17th, 1958. I got a certificate for having worked all states, and the WAS, worked all states. That is May 2nd of 1958. Ray helped me get the license for flying, giving me some instruction and getting me attached or in contact with a flight instructor and what have you. So he was directly responsible for getting me started in the flying event. We had our second annual radio picnic. The last weekend in June, there were several people that attended. The picnic got bigger and bigger every year. So that is, it got to the point where there got to be hundreds of them there. Patsy got married in April of '58 in Moorhead to Arlen Clubbin. And being I'd gotten my private license, why it was very important that I'd have a runway on the farm. So that was the next thing that happened. I got up there with a little 2-horse patrol, and we leveled out the ground for a quarter of a mile, so there would be a place for an airplane to land. It was very essential that, and it was even designated on the state aeronautical map, the Scramstead Airport. I suppose that would be about in '59 or whatever it was. And Arthur was confirmed in June 8th of 1958. I got a certificate from the American Relay League that I had worked all states on radio in May 2nd of 1958. I flew to Watertown and picked up Eddie Zutter's radio gear in August of 29 of 1958. Went down and picked up a transmitter and a receiver for him from Burkhart's. That was a kind of an eventful trip too. That is my first long trip of going cross country. I'd had some cross country, taking the test, but it wasn't anything. That is the biggest one so far. So when I got back from Fargo, had taken the test, so I got my private license, I flew to Grand Forks and took Terry McCosh for a ride. That was on May 29th of 1958. And we had various in the fall. Then I went up to Minot and stopped at Pat Olson. That was in October 5th of 1958. I visited K0AJW Pat at Velva. And that was on my trip to Minot to go and visit with Melvin. This was quite an eventful trip too. He finally wound up being caught in a combine and lost his life. Not that year, but sometime later. Yeah, I took the written test for commercial pilot in September 14th of '58. But I didn't pass. On June 19th of '58 and came back by the Peace Garden on July 22nd. And May and I flew to Minneapolis on September 14th of '58 to visit with the Gundersons. That was some of our big trips. May and I, in the airplane. On May 5th, 1959, I was awarded the Public Service Award for helping out in the North Dakota blizzard. That was in November of 59 with amateur radio. We had a communication between Grand Forks and Fargo, Grand Forks and Devil's Lake. All telegraph wires were down in this storm, and the amateurs relayed all traffic that was supposed to go on those telegraph lines between Grand Forks and Devil's Lake. There was no sleep then. We just stayed awake. I don't know, we must have stayed awake 2-3 days, the amateurs in the area, just relaying the traffic from one town to the other, because there was no means of getting the telegraph lines fixed up during the storm. And Larry was confirmed on May 31st of 1959. I think I mentioned that it was 59 that we're talking about now. Donald got married January 26th of 59 to Nellie Cole in Orange, Texas. Arthur enlisted in the Army in May of 59. Patsy's Kevin was born in Fargo on April 4th of 59 and was baptized June 9th of 1959. I protected a drumming ground for prairie chickens on the left side of the runway out on the farm. They had just a lot of fun. They came there every day and enjoyed themselves. It was real interesting. You could drive up to them with the car just within just a few feet of them when they were busy drumming. And they'd have the biggest time in the world. That is something different. But they eventually they lost out because they didn't protect them. After I sold the farm, there was no protection for them anymore. So that kind of took care of that situation. In 1960, we had our 4th annual picnic down in the woods. We had Mayor Bender come out and fry pancakes. We bought a whole case of eggs, 144 dozen. No, 30 dozen, excuse me. 30 dozen in a case. And we fried them all. We had many pounds of flour, pancake flour. Had Ted Platson came out and helped Bender fry the pancakes. There were several hundred people down in the woods there. We got pictures of it. It was real interesting. People came for miles. They came from Alaska and Ohio, Arizona, Washington, Montana, North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. I think there was 10 or 11 states represented there. I advertised it for about a year ahead, though. Started in the wintertime, and then, well, I suppose it was about 6 months ahead. And in '60, I built a house on the farm on cement blocks with the idea of selling it to supplement my income. It didn't work out that way, so we had to, I had a heck of a time to get lots in town, but I finally got the lots in town and put it on the foundation.